Jeff Teague on his show said, the reason I say he's better than Wemby is because Wemby ain't really did nothing yet. We just like Wemby because he's a freak. He's a phenomenal player, but I'm going to go with what I see. Do you guys see Paulo being better than Victor Wembanyama?
Did he say top 10 or did you just add that part?
They were talking about, that's where the conversation started with who's the top 10 players.
Okay, I didn't know. That's why I was also looking for context. I disagree with him, but
I mean, I agree with him a little bit. I understand we still hoping what we can get out of Wemby. I mean, we all know by the end of, if he can stay healthy, Wemby probably gonna be one of the best players of all time. But I'm just going off of what we've seen so far. Like Paulo improved himself a lot, man. You can't. I don't think that's a bad take by Jeff Teague, to be honest with you. I don't think so. I think that's a cool take. Like, I mean, until we see Wemby get out there and do it, then it's be like, all right. And I'm pretty sure he'll be like, all right, yeah, he better than Paulo. But
you didn't see Paulo, Jordan. You didn't see Paulo play this season, the 25-26 season. You didn't see him play, but you heard he played 76 games. What is his numbers look like? He
Wemby or Paulo?
Paulo. He played 76 games this year. You didn't see him play. What does his numbers look like?
Shit, probably first team All NBA. Shit, that's what it looked like to me. Could be first, second team All NBA. Good 26 a game. Good 7 rebounds a game.
26, 7.
Isn't that what he averaged this year?
Yeah,
like,
that is actually what he averaged.
Yeah.
Hey, but he didn't play enough games, though, right?
Yeah,
I feel like with
46.
The only thing you can say that you haven't seen from Wemby is the playoffs. And if that's a separator, you value playoffs, and that's why you have Paulo over Victor Wembanyama, because you've seen Paolo Banchero perform at a high level in the playoffs, then that's the best argument you have. But I don't know why we're acting like we haven't seen Wemby play at a top 6 level this past season before he got hurt. He was a runaway defensive player of the year. He led the NBA in total blocks and missed almost half the season. Like, he was going to run away with the award and was one of the 6 best players on the planet when he was playing. So I don't think that Paulo in the regular season has ever peaked that high. So if I'm looking at a player and just what they've shown me at their best, how they can perform, I think Wembanyama proved already that he's better.
I think you harping on his defense a lot. Like, I'm cool with that as a defensive player. Like, he shut that shit down. Like, I think hands down, he probably be the best defensive player. But we talking about overall, like helping your team, win, helping them. And I'm not saying Paulo was the only factor in that, because he did miss some games and Orlando was still good. But I feel like if we saying he top 6, his team ain't supposed to be that bad. They ain't supposed to be that terrible.
So if the driving force of their winning is their defense, and Paolo Banchero isn't the best defender on the Magic,
not a horrible defender though.
No, he's not. Is he the driving force behind their winning?
I think they have a solid team. I agree with you that they have a solid team. I don't know if you want to say the driving force. He's the best player on that team, if that's what you asking me. Like, he's for sure the best player.
Joe, I pulled this up.
He's not a top 6 player in the NBA, though. I don't think Paulo is a top 6 player in the NBA.
Can he play himself into the top 10 this season? I'm sorry, really quickly.
Yes,
Can he play himself into the top 10 this season?
Paulo?
Yeah. Paulo and Wemby had the same record this year because they both played 46 games. They both were 21 and 25 when they played.
Yeah, but
so
Jordan, I pulled this up.
That's why I just
July 9th.
I don't think Paulo or Wemby is top 6.
We were having a conversation about Wemby and some other people. Wemby this year, out of just a jump shooter, a player that took 400 jump shots last year. He was ranked 84th in the NBA in terms of overall efficiency as a jump shooter. So he's already, which would be relative to 400, 400 players, like already an upper tier jump shooter.
Where was Paulo? Do you know?
Paulo, I would have to go back into the numbers. I don't know where Paulo was, but Paulo's probably I would say maybe around there somewhere. But
Wemby averaged what, 24, 25?
Wemby averaged 24 this year. Paulo averaged about 26.
Yeah.
I felt like you're getting the same offensive value from Wemby, if not better.
Whoa. And Joe, it was looking a lot different before he got injured. That 24, that 26 from Paulo was looking more like
he was
28 to like.
Yeah, when he came back from injury,
it wasn't the same.
Turned it up to a different level.
How Wemby was looking, because Wemby started the season slow, and I remember because he had that game against Dallas opening night. And after the first 10 games, we spoke about Wemby because he was struggling. He was shooting like 20% from 3. And then Wemby decided to turn into like 7'4" KD. and for like the next 2 months, shot 40% from three and was averaging like 27. Like that same thing does apply to Wemby. Like from that point on, so the 36 games after his 10th game of the season. Let me just make sure I'm getting the numbers correct. 37 games, sorry. Wemby was averaging 25.9 points, which is Paulo's season average, 11 rebounds, shooting 49% from the field and 38% from three. And he shot 82% from the free throw line. He shot 9 threes a game.
That's a lot of threes.
Like Wemby was going crazy on offense, and he's the best defender in the sport and was producing like it on during that stretch. So you got someone who we just had the super chat about how much do we undervalue defense. Wemby, whether we think Paulo's a good defender, a mid defender, really good defender,
he cleared.
Wemby clears him.
Right.
Wemby, like that's without conversation. If you don't think Wemby's the best defender in the sport, he's top 5. Paulo's not. So just off that alone, we know Wemby's got the advantage on defense. Then offensively, if you think Paulo's clearly a better offensive player because of the ball handling, because of the fact that he's able to create his own shot more seamlessly, I do think Paulo is probably a more gifted passer at this point. Yeah. I understand the case for Paulo being a better offensive player. I definitely don't think that Paulo clears him offensively when you factor in all of the stuff that Wemby can do without the ball as a screener, as a lob threat, just his catch radius overall. He's a better shooter, in my opinion. All of that stuff leads me to saying I think if Paulo is a better offensive player, it's marginal. And then I'm looking at the best defender in the sport. I think Wemby is just the better player. Now, I understand we haven't seen it in the playoffs, and I do have hesitations about Wemby in the playoffs, the Wemby I just saw last year. I have hesitations about it. But I think Wemby's better. And then, like, if you want to go the advanced stats route, this was yet another year where the Magic performed better with Paulo off the floor. Like it keeps happening. Like that's what it keeps happening. I don't know why that keeps happening, but it does keep happening. So
but to Joe's point, and Joe, you brought up Wemby was going to win the Defensive Player of the Year unanimously. Was that based on him? Like, was that based on block shots, or was that just based on him overall as a better defender? Because because the reason why I'm asking you that, Joe, is because I think that we're playing a dangerous game here. Like you said, he ended up 56 games. He led the league in blocks. So if we're doing that, and that is a huge impact on the defensive end, I'm not going to argue that point. But if he's doing that consistently, is that the standard now for Wemby? And when somebody else does that, or somebody else does something close to that, and Wemby does more than what they did, is now Wemby out of the Defensive Player of the Year conversation? So I think that's where it gets tricky.
The blocks has it's a big argument for Wemby. The rim protection in general. I think that's the biggest argument for him. When he was on the floor, the Spurs defense was top 10.
Sure.
When he was off the floor, they fell all the way to 30th in the NBA. So I think the value he had on his team defense on and off the floor is why he was the runaway defensive player of the year.
The reason why I'm saying that's why, because I can see that the little bit of disconcern in your face, because like somebody has a Joker year. Okay, they might be the league MVP, but Joker might have a better year than he did the year before, which was that year that they ended up winning.
We've seen that happen.
That's what I'm talking about. I just feel like it's a dangerous space to be in, because now what we're doing is we're not. I don't think that we're being consistent with who this guy is. If Russell Westbrook was the league MVP, not because he led the league in scoring, not because he led the league in assists, was he the league MVP because he averaged a triple-double, or because he was the most valuable player in the game? And if he was the league MVP because he averaged a triple-double, then he should have won it three more times.
I think Wemby was the most valuable defensive player, is just what I would say. I think sometimes I think when we talk about, like, we did this with Steph Curry and his three-point shooting the other day, I think we can minimize players to their best asset and say that's what they do, all they do type thing. Wemby is the best rim protector in the league, but there's so many other things that contributes to the overall layout of the Spurs defense. And I think the in-between stuff matters too. I think the fact that, like, the deterrent stuff, I think I brought this up before, but like when teams are in transition and Wemby's in transition, they're not scoring at the rim. Like, they don't even look at it. They like literally will reset the play. Like, you can't measure that. Like, that's defensive value, like right there, being able to do things like that. If you're running a pick and roll, you're not throwing lobs. If you're running like certain sets, you're just not able to pass inside because you know he's there.
Kind of like Steph getting
doubled. Yeah, it changes everything. Just like Steph, you're sitting two with the ball. Like,
sure, I can get with that.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just like there's kind of this gravity thing with Wemby too that gets to talk about, and nobody else has that.
He changes the dimensions of the court on defense. It's unique, and he's 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan. And he's mobile. And then offensively, I do think Paulo is a better offensive player. Yeah, I think Paulo's a better.
What's the
offensive
gap
player.
between them two though, Mars? Because it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like you're that convinced that Paolo's a better offensive player. Sounds like you think he is, but it's like, yeah.
You know, the thing
I
with
don't
Paulo
like-
is
Go
that
ahead.
it's difficult. Yeah, sorry, Mars. The thing with Paulo that's difficult to measure is that he's a better ball handler. He's a better passer. Those are things that he has an advantage over Wemby, but the ball stops with him as well.
Mhm.
And I feel like when you take into account Wemby's spacing and his value as a shooter, and even I think maybe if you look up the mid-range shooter numbers, I wouldn't even be surprised if Wemby was a better mid-range shooter percentage-wise than Paolo, even though Paolo takes much more. So there's much more volume there. But I think I value the spacing and the rim presence with Wemby more than I value the ball handling and the passing with Paolo, because I feel like Paolo doesn't leverage it as much as I'd like him to leverage it. He's not attacking downhill as much as Franz Wagner, to where that part of his game will shine. He's more so waiting for the defense to collapse on him when he's holding the ball for 2, 3, 4 seconds and then making kickouts, as opposed to creating advantages. And I
Is
feel
that
like
because
that's
of-
the difference.
Is that because of France being on the team, why he can't get downhill as much as he would like to?
People attribute it to
It's
the
not just
spacing of the
Franz.
team.
It's-
I think Paulo right now just really loves settling for jump shots. I feel like, you know, he's a lot like Carmelo Anthony in that
That part
way.
right there, Ron. I think your man should be. I think Paolo is a 30-10 guy. I think he that good. I know I might sound crazy, but I think he's 30.
He averaged that in the playoffs. Damn near
But
back-to-back
I
years.
think he could be
If
that
you-
good.
yeah,
Ron.
If you go off of that, what y'all talking about, Paulo settling for jump shots? I mean, Wemby has that problem bad.
Yeah,
100%.
He has that really
Yeah.
bad. I mean, even in transition,
He's also,
all
but
over
he is
the
also a
place.
better jump shooter than Paulo.
and that's fair. And I want to say, because I've been pretty quiet on this, because I'm still trying to work it out, and I've come to the conclusion that I think this is wrong. I think this is false. I know sometime in the season I still have Paolo over Victor, but I mean, Victor, you can see he's getting stronger. You can see his body's changing. I think a lot of the issues for him was just being young, being raw, and not really having the level of teammates around him. You know, I'm not saying he wasn't taking it serious, but I just don't think that level of teammates he had around him could really play ball and really show his real value. I think this year he has a much better team. I think he'll be able to show his value more, because the team will win more games. At this point in their career, I think this might be the year where Wemby makes it obvious, like Paolo's not better than him.
I see. Now that's where I'm at.
Wemby's at that stage
Yeah.
now, where it's like
That's where I'm at.
you can see Zizi, his body has changed. He's putting weight on. He's stronger, and with his length and getting stronger in your hindquarters, in your core section, it's going to make him be able to change direction a little faster on defense, which means he's going to get to more blocks. He's going to cut the court off even more than what Mars was saying earlier. Like Mars, to your point, he changes all the dimensions of the basketball court, and when he's able to change direction even faster and help even more just by being stronger in his hindquarters, he's gonna just freak the whole game out. The game is gonna be. He got De'Aaron Fox running with him now. I think it's gonna get ugly. I think Wemby's finally at the stage where we can see he's the best, and he's gonna be the best in the NBA for some time.
I think the point that you made about like this season and him really having a chance to prove that it's clearly him, I do think I see that for sure. But I do want to just shed light on Paolo. Like I said this, I think at some point in the regular season last year, but like I was like, what Paolo, and this is before they made it to the playoffs last year, obviously, but Paolo making the postseason with the Magic was a big deal to me. I don't know if it was a big deal to everybody else, but to me, it was a big deal, because I was like, this is a guy that won Rookie of the Year. And, you know, in terms of living up to expectations on a draft pick, he's kind of done that. In the playoffs, he's so far limited games. In his first playoff series, I thought that was going to go 5. That went 7. He was averaging, I think, like 27. I know it was like 45, 41 splits. So seeing his numbers from the moment he stepped into the league, in his rookie year, he was averaging 20, around 7 rebounds, like 3 or 4 assists. But like, if you're averaging 20 in your rookie year, I'm paying attention to that. I'm looking for the next year to see the sophomore slump. He went up like 3 points, and the rebound stayed the same, assists stayed the same, percentages was getting a little bit better. You give a little bit more grace to younger players anyway.
and especially if it's the sophomore year. And then we get into last year, he played the same exact amount of games as Wemby, which is why I definitely would not say that he cleared Wemby ever, actually. But also, thank you, Mars, for harping on the defense of Wemby and how valuable that is, because it can put him in certain conversations kind of unanimously. Like when we're talking about defenders, you can't name 5, 4, maybe 3 better defenders in the league today, in basketball today, than Victor Wembanyama, based on his rim deterrence alone, because that's the best in the league. I mean, just by genetics and default. So for me,
9-foot tall ass dude.
I mean, it is like bro knows angles, where to be, if he's got to, be on the left side, the right side, whichever angle he's got to come in from to get the block, he can do it.
But there aren't many better big scorers in the league than Wemby either, though. I think that also needs to be said.
Exactly.
I think
Jokic,
Embiid, Anthony Davis, like
maybe Cat,
Karl Anthony Towns,
yeah.
like it's just not that many. I think it matters that you're like one of the best scorers at your position, and you're also like what you are defensively.
Looking at the efficiency.
That name Joel Embiid.
I did.
You ain't said Joel?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Giannis. He might be what? He might be at the big man position. I'm talking power forward, Smith center. He might be.
I'm just doing centers, but Giannis obviously a better scorer.
In terms of
he has a lot of noticeable flaws, but especially in the regular season, he is able to overcome a lot of it with like his outside shooting, his touch, and then just like as a role man, he has such a large catch radius. He is able to catch and just finish over the top.
But then once he gets hot too, Mars, like, what are you doing? Like,
then you've got nothing you can do. You've got nothing you can do. The concern is obviously the playoff stuff, and we've seen teams start adjusting. It's like we don't need to put a big on Wemby based on last season. Put a big wing on him, put someone who's strong, bump him off his spots, and then he's not really going to be a threat downhill because he's not able to beat you off the bounce, and he's going to settle for a lot of outside shots. Paolo doesn't really have that same issue. It's kind of the same, but it's a little bit different in the sense that like teams will put smaller people on Wemby, but the smaller people are still 6'8". But Paolo will go out of his way to mismatch hunt guards because that's where he's at his best, when he's able to bully you, get all the way to the rim.
Yeah.
But then like the negative side effect of that is that and this is because of Orlando's spacing, so it comes back to hurt him based on his team construct. Because he's mismatch hunting guards, the rim protection is still there. So he's having to try to finish over rim protection and then the small guards. And then you get the issue with all the shot selection, and he's taking turnaround jumpers with 6'3" guys on him. But part of that is because he's not able to, in my opinion, he's not able to consistently blow by bigs on the outside. So he has to go against smaller players. And then you end up having the issue where it's like, well, there's a big down there protecting the rim. What do you do about that? It's like they both have flaws scoring, but I think, and this is because I've seen it with Paulo, and he turns into one of the best 3-point shooters in the league in the playoffs for whatever reason. I do trust Paulo as a playoff scorer more than Wemby at this point. But if I see Wemby in the playoffs next year and then he's still unstoppable, it's like, oh, okay, well then there's my question answered.
That'll be
As of now, I think Paulo does have those questions answered more than Wemby does. So
I will say with Jeff Teague's take, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with it. I just don't think it's crazy. I don't think what he's saying.
I agree. I agree.
I think it's like
that. I don't think it's crazy, but I disagree. I don't think it's crazy.
His main argument to me, from what I gathered, was like the question that you're asking is who's done more. Wemby's going into his 3rd year. Paulo just is going into his 4th year. And like I said, for him getting drafted to the Orlando Magic, they both got drafted to shitty situations and were told to make chicken salad out of it if they don't want to be called a bust. Paolo Banchero is averaging. Well, you know what I mean. Swipe,
Franz Wagner was.
Well, okay, yeah, but for outside of Franz,
Jalen Suggs,
only consistent offensive option that he's had, at least. Jalen Suggs not really that consistent offensively. Yeah,
Jalen Suggs just really got actually good. Yeah,
exactly. And that's even like you're kind of holding your breath a little bit still, hoping that it just continues. But whatever. The point is that they both got drafted to shit and were expected to make something out of it. Paulo, in his 2 playoff series, has exceeded expectation just in the series alone. For how many games did you think that they're going to even win? In the Celtics series this year, it was painfully obvious that the Magic had the worst offense in the league. I've said that on numerous occasions. Watching them in a half-court set defensively can turn into some really gritty basketball, decent basketball. Watching them in a half-court set offensively is like mind-scratching basketball. Why is this on national television? this is why you niggas don't get.
They've been like that for
national
years
games.
too, by
Like,
the way. They've been like that
exactly.
10 fucking
So
years.
my question is, we'll see what happens with Desmond Bane as a new acquisition. If he helps, like, I don't know, just make that 3-point part of the offense somewhat consistent and just open up different avenues for them to run different sets. We'll see. But yeah.
Fellas, I do want to ask a question because both teams got much better. So the question I want to ask is, obviously, Paulo's out east, Wemby's out west. Who wins a ring first?
It's hard to answer that question because they both may never win a fucking ring.
Yeah, I was gonna say they both might not win. Like,
But
I might
at
just
the
say
same
neither.
time, if we had to shoe in that they both could win a ring, I can't see nobody going to San Antonio. So, shit.
I mean,
that's
San Antonio.
Could you see somebody going to Orlando?
They just got De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
and they just
That was in a
back-
trade, though. That was in a trade, Ron.
I mean, they got
That
Dylan
was one of his
Harper.
destinations, though, Chill. He
They
wanted
got
to go there.
Stephon Castle. They already have Sohan. They just got Carter
He's from
Bryant. I
there?
mean,
His wife's from them. So.
Y'all y'all
I'll
y'all
say-
that
I'll
high on
say
Carter
the
Bryant
Spurs,
playing
though.
this year? Like, you think
No,
Carter Bryant's gonna play a lot of minutes?
this year, not really. But
Probably not. Yeah.
I don't think Orlando's winning the chip this year, so I don't think Wemby's going.
Hey, it's wide open for him though.
Yeah, to make
was wide
it,
open.
to make
To
it,
make
they
it,
just,
yeah.
to get blitzed
Oh, yeah, to
by
make
whoever
it,
comes
to
out
make
the
it.
West. Yeah, to get blitzed. But
I'm gonna go with Victor Wembanyama, and I feel like I think he's just a better talent. I think he has potential to be the best player in the world, and I think the Spurs just have overall more assets to pick from to not be in the second apron. Orlando paying as much money as they're paying Paulo, Franz, Jalen Suggs, and Desmond Bane. That second apron is going to hit in a few years, and when it does, they might have to blow up their team. So when you take that into account, the timeline for Orlando is really a couple of years where I feel like the Spurs have much more leeway to get good values, get good contracts around Wemby with a better supporting cast to make deeper playoff runs.
Moss, you just said
second
something.
apron thing. This second apron thing is interesting to me because I like it and dislike it. I like it because it forced teams to actually give a shit about their draft picks. Like, you can't no longer just draft just to fucking draft. Like Joel was just saying, that second apron, it's either they're gonna have to throw away their team or draft some players that you can develop and that you can keep.
Imagine that. Imagine getting somebody that you have to turn into a player.
Thank you. But it'd be too many people, it'd be too many teams that just draft shit and they don't face
because
the
I got the
consequences.
23rd pick in the draft. I got to draft somebody instead of
And
actually
they
doing
got
my
money in the
homework.
offseason, so they feel like we just grab a free agent. But it's like,
but to be fair, I feel like all the
over with.
scouts do their work. They just are wrong, like a lot.
yeah. Then he quit. That's what I'm saying, though. It's time to stop that being wrong shit. Like,
It's hard, but it's hard to not be wrong. I mean, the draft has always been
That
like,
part I could get with.
yeah, it's a lottery. I mean, who knows? Like, I don't know what that kid's gonna like once he gets this money, if he's gonna turn into anything, or if he stops growing, if he stubs his toe and his toe doesn't grow correctly for the rest of his life, and now he can't dribble right. Like, I mean, you just literally just don't know. Like, you know,
Wait a
You
minute,
don't.
though, Spike,
But
but
I'm
we
saying with
can't-
the 23rd
this is-
pick, you're supposed to pick a player
And-
that's ready to play.
That's fair.
yeah, Deron
You
Holmes.
gotta
You
think
just
about
literally
it.
and
But
you
Jordan,
just wrote
should I-
Deron Holmes off. So are you calling yourself a casual?
I'm not writing
them
Deron
doing the work.
Holmes off.
For them
Oh my
doing the
God.
work, drafting him at
I'm not
23.
writing Deron Holmes off. I'm just saying by December, you going to be writing them off, just like
No,
Julian
not-
Strauss.
He's a rookie. Damn, who you think I am? I'm not you.
You're going to
No,
be Vince
matter of fact,
McMahon.
who is that? When the Zach Edey conversation, I was standing for Zach Edey.
He going to
I
be
was
Vince
saying
McMahon.
he was
Watch,
good
swiping
for a
by
rookie.
December going to be, you're fired.
Never.
That's what he
Never.
going to be.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
Mars,
not
you had
irrational
said
like
that Orlando ends up in the NBA Finals only to get blitzed by who's ever coming out of the West. I mean, can we really say that after what we just seen this season that just passed? Like I had Oklahoma City stomping Indiana. That was a 7-game dogfight.
I don't know why. I said that before the series started that it was going to go 7 games.
You did say that, Jordan. I'm not gonna lie about that. Yes, you did. I had them smoking them in 5 games. So
Another
OKC's just
victory
not as
lap.
good as we thought they were, bro. I mean, we can have a conversation when
you also said the Timberwolves was going to the finals.
I did say that, but then when they got
I
their
did
ass
too.
tore up, I had to go back. I said what I said. But what did I say first, though? I said they was going to spank the Lakers' ass. I said that off the rip. So I just didn't know. I apologize. I didn't know Ant-Man was going to shit the bed against goddamn SGA. He shit the bed on me. I had to drop Ant-Man. I had to drop him lower, bro. I had to.
It's answerable.
Yeah, I had to send him. I had to send him down the list, bro. I had to. But I don't mind. I don't mind when I'm wrong. I'm gonna tell you when I'm wrong. But when I'm right, you're gonna hear from me.
For sure.
And I know I'm gonna be right by swiping by December.
Nope. I'm gonna
I know
do
that.
my job. I don't know what to tell you. Like, only I'm just not allowed to do my job. I guess, shout out to y'all.
Nah,
Shout
you
out to
can
y'all.
do your job.
I'm going to do it
It's
too.
just- I know it.
I'm looking forward to seeing the tweets about the non-Jokic minutes. I'm looking
Yeah, and it's gonna be a
Oh my
I'm already laid
God.
out. It's gonna be a process early, and it'll get better at the later in the season. That should be like a very understandable thing. You got to figure it out. They got so many players now that Jordan called fluff. They got to figure out a rotation now.
Can I get one promise from you?
No, I'm not promising you anything.
I just don't
I'm
want to
not
hear.
promising you anything. No.
Okay. I'm gonna just say what I don't want to hear. Even if everything goes wrong, based on everything I've heard you say this
Till when?
offseason,
Like
about
through the whole year.
Yeah. But there's one thing I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear you blaming the front office for these acquisitions.
No,
That's
but
it.
when did I didn't do that in 23
They
either?
don't work out. Yeah, if they don't work
I
out,
didn't. But
I don't
Mars,
want you to be like,
You know how many times you brought up Calvin Booth?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
all.
What?
That's all
Wait,
it
what?
is.
You know how many times
Ron?
you brought up Calvin Booth?
2023. They had enough to do what they needed to do. The issue they haven't had the last 2 years. I feel like that's been everyone's acknowledged that, but if I acknowledge that, then it's like that's somehow wrong.
Everything else
They
is
had
fine.
the
Like,
worst. I think they had the worst non-starting unit in the playoffs. I think that's a problem. I don't think you should be able.
Yeah, but
you
they-
tracking
go out
the
there.
non-Jokic minutes is fine. I just don't want to hear if the non-Jokic minutes go badly. I don't want to hear you blaming the front office.
There's no,
Right,
there's
because
nothing
of
to
the way
blame
he's
about.
talking right now,
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah, exactly.
The way he's
Yeah.
talking
But
right now.
I feel like the issue with y'all though, if I can course correct you a little bit, is that like when people do their job well, you get credit for it. But the players didn't have to do the job. At the end of the year, they don't win the title, and then it's because say that whatever doesn't happen. Then the front office did their job. They literally traded a major
That's all I'm
contract.
asking. That's all I'm asking.
They
Just don't
added
blame the front
3
office.
other additional players, and they left the 15th spot open in case they need to add another player. Whereas Booth literally said, "We're not re-signing KCP to have room to sign another player." You get to the deadline, you don't do anything. You literally just sitting on your hands, and you created the beef with Michael Malone.
Swiper.
Yeah, you
I
gonna get
must
blamed.
commend you.
Booth
Swiper,
was the
I must
problem. He
commend
was
you.
right, Swiper.
Huh?
Look,
They got him up out of there, and now all of a sudden they're in such a much better.
Yeah, John Wallace. Again, I will speak directly to this. John Wallace has been he came from the Wolves. He knew what the team needed. He done a great job.
Swiper, I must commend you. I will say that you have a special talent. The details that you bring up is the shit that nobody in life would bring up. This man just brought up a GM leaving the 15th spot open. I never thought I'd hear these shits when we
I'm
talking
good at my
about
job,
shit.
y'all. I don't know what to tell y'all,
Boy,
man. That's the difference,
like
y'all.
he left the 15th spot open. It's like every
Mhm.
time Swiper give an explanation, I just hear more shit that I would have never heard in the barbershop. I would have never heard this shit, period.
And you know what else you heard today? A tertiary ball handler is a useful thing. That's what you heard. All right. Next super chat.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Wait, hold on, Rob. Who are the Trailblazers of today?